The life of a slave on the plantation. Many people think that all slave owners had a huge amount of slaves and a huge amount of land. But really, of the 400,000 owners, 50,000 of them had 20 or more slaves, and only 2,300 of them had more than 100 slaves, and more than 15 or more acres.
There was a spacious garden behind the house, containing, I believe, about 5 acres, well cultivated and handsomely laid out. Ball, page 61.
As you can see from that slave narrative by Ball from page 61, to be a slave, some places did have quite a lot of land. On many of the big plantations, the slaves had a separate hospital and a separate kitchen from the regular hospital and kitchen used by the white folk who actually lived on the plantation. Also, the slaves had their own cabins, which they slept and lived in most of the time. On many plantations, there is an overseer. The overseer was the main slave driver who punished and rewarded slaves. Sadly, most of it was punishment. The driver, or overseer, was normally a white who was hired by the master, a free black, or a trusted slave. On a normal plantation, in a normal slave's life, the slave would get up before the sun got up, work until about noon, get a small break, and work until the sun went down, and then go back to sleep for maybe about 5 hours. Slaves normally did not get much food from the master. Normally, they would grow their own food and tend their gardens on Sunday, grow their own livestock, tend that also on Sunday, or sometimes they would even steal from the master's storehouses, thinking that, hey, I grew this, why can't I eat it? Slaves would often rebel, and not by attacking people. Often, they would act dumb and like stupid animals, like people thought they were. Also, they would accidentally break tools and pretend to be sick. And rarely, they would sometimes open rebel and attack the white people who enslaved them. The fact that there could be actually people living so nicely on a plantation was built by the institution of slavery, which is horrible. Luckily today, slavery in the U.S. is outlawed, but sadly, other places in the world, it is not, and people today still live like slaves.